It's that time of the day. It's my favourite time of the day, of course, because it's Talking Pints. Before I introduce my guest, let's have a look at him in one of the films that helped to make him mega famous. It was called The Business, just a few years ago.
Don't worry, son, you'll live. What's the matter? You're off, ain't you?
It's just, I'm just...
It's all right, don't worry about it. You ain't got to explain nothing to me.
It's just that ain't about me, child. I ain't one of yous. Yeah, look, come here.
Yeah. Take it. Anytime you want on holiday, you come and see me, all right? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You just make sure you come and see me again. You'll be all right, you know that, don't you?
Well, here he is. Tamer Hassan joins me on Talking Pints.
Good
to see you. Really good. Now, South London boy.
Yep, through and through.
South London boy, not far off the old Kent Road and those sort of areas.
New Cross.
Del Boy just round the corner.
Yeah, Peckham, New Cross, Peckham, Old Kent Road. That was the places that I frequented.
Quite a tough place to grow up.
Very tough, especially being from an immigrant family.
So a bit of an outsider?
Bit of an outsider. There wasn't a lot of us there. I think it was the Irish, the Cypriots and the West Indians were there, and we had to do a lot of fighting and a lot of sticking up for ourselves. I was a very young, angry, short, little, fat Turkish kid with loads of hair. Still got the hair. And,
you have?
We used to do a lot of fighting. My mum put me into boxing and we just grew up the tough way, but I wouldn't have it any different. People say, I grew up in the flats, it was an hard time, and it was lovely. The community was beautiful, neighbours were beautiful. There's always good and bad everywhere, but I enjoyed.
And the boxing became a big thing with you?
Yeah, boxing became a big thing for me. I started at a very young age. My mum took me to judo. I couldn't get around judo. I just kept misbehaving, and then she gave me to, God rest his soul, an old family friend called Ginger May. It was very much like Rocky's trainer. He was an old school boxing trainer, so she took me to the church and I started boxing. And then back in the day when you're a boxer, people tend to leave you alone. And then, but you do so much fighting and sparring in the gym, you learn to go, do you know what, I'm all right, leave me alone. You just don't want to fight. So it was a good discipline for me.
And you got good at it?
I got good at it. I was undefeated as an amateur, and then I got some injuries and stuff, and I ended up owning a boxing club, Elton Boxing Club. I owned Greenwich Borough Football Club, and I say I owned it, but I gave Elton Boxing Club a home with Elton Warriors in Eltham, and I still train. I've still got my stuff downstairs. I've got a Boxmaster, speedball, ropes, so I still do a little bit.
So was professional boxing...
Always wanted to be a professional boxer, but nose, injuries, hands. And do you know what? I'm happy I didn't turn pro, because the amateur game is one thing, but then to turn pro, it's a tough battle. It's a hard sport, a hard living. And I was happy that, there were some injuries and stuff, and they said, look, it's time for you to stop. And
so how on earth do you go into acting from all this?
Yeah, there's a matter.
How did that happen?
Never wanted to be an actor. Never wanted to be an actor. Honestly, it was one of them ones, and now I think I'm 62 titles in.
Really? You're going to say?
Really happy.
You're over 60 films.
Yeah. So never really wanted to be an actor. Kind of fell into it. Through investments and stuff, and people introduced me. I had nightclubs and restaurants, and I was always sort of charismatic and a good host, and I used to be very good looking as a youngster, it's sort of gone now, but I always used to host the restaurants and the clubs, but producers just go, you should be an actor, you should be an actor. I'm like, it's hard enough earning money in what you know than what you don't know, plus all the actors I knew, they was all skint. Everyone has this perception of us being...
Yeah, I was going to ask you about... obviously, you did all the famous soaps, the EastEnders, you did
I call it
that.
Apprenticeship work.
And the Bill you were in.
The Bill, Casualty, Judge John Deed, EastEnders. I did the...
Casualty, isn't that the most depressing programme?
Yeah, it was horrible. And then I think I played a self-harmer in... I think it was Casualty on one of those shows, and it was just so depressing.
I just... It's on the television. I can't deal with that. It might ruin my day. But people watch it.
What do we do?
And then the big breaks, break. We just saw a little clip at the beginning there of The Business.
That was the big one. But I'll tell you what, where we are now, I did my first film along here, I think it was Blackfriars Road or something, in a school. It was called The Calcium Kid for Working Title. Great cast. It created a lot of stars, Ralph Spall, Michael Pena, Omid Jalili, Billy Piper, Orlando Bloom. And that was kind of my first film, and it was for Working Title, and I got that. And I had to work hard for it. Alex Durakoff see something in me, and we did that. And then it just kind of catapulted from there. And then I did The Football Factory.
Which has become a complete cult film.
Crazy cult classic film. And us as actors, we don't know what they're going to become. We just go to work. And then all of a sudden, they start roller coasting.
But in a sense, for you, The Football Factory, given that it's centred around a particular football club.
My club.
Called Millwall.
Yes, my club.
What's the slogan? Everyone hates us and we don't care.
We don't care, yeah. We are Millwall, Super Millwall. But yeah, my club. But listen, I'm a great believer supporting your local club. I was born and bred in New Cross, 2 minutes away from the old Den. And, you know, it was a bit of an honour. It was hard work. I mean, to portray a thug was... I think Nick got it right. Nick Love got it right. As an adaptation of a violent hooligan movie, it was spot on. And then it just kind of become like a cult classic because it's quite funny and caricature in places where a big thug like me is on a pitch with there's an iconic scene you probably remember with the kids playing, and then me and Frank Harper's character have these bits, this fight and this argument and stuff, and it just roller coasted into this huge cult classic movie. And it's still, they must show it on TV twice a week, once a fortnight, sorry.
Yeah.
And then Nick see the relationship between me and Danny, and he wrote the business for us.
Danny Dart, yeah.
And it was probably my best experience, my best time. I had such an amazing time, me and Danny and Nick and everyone, and the whole cast was amazing. It down in Spain, we had 3 months down there, and we just did it. But I always thought there was something special about it, because Nick's special as a writer and a director, Nick Love as a director. But now I think that film is nearly 20 years old. And it just doesn't get old.
But somehow, through those couple of films...
I haven't changed. I know what you're going to say.
No, not a bit. He hasn't aged a day, honest. But suddenly you're famous.
Yes, it happened overnight. It really happened overnight, and it was quite funny. I met my agent, and she said, you know, you ever thought about acting? I'm like, you know, it's just a quote that I've regretted all my life. But I was like, oh, acting's a mug's game sort of thing. But then all of a sudden, I did a Spivs with Ken Stott, Calcium Kid, Football Factory, Layer Cake, and then I did a Luke Besson movie with Morgan Freeman, Jet Li and Bob Hoskins. So I was just going and going and going, and all of a sudden, by the grace of God, I was very lucky. And there was no VOD, there was no, you know, Netflix and all of that. So it was cinema, DVD 3 months later, and plus the pirates, if you could get a pirate. But then all of these films were in the cinema at once. And it was just, everyone's like, where did he come from? Like, he's big, he's powerful, he's, you know, he's great, we like what he's doing, he's believable. And then literally overnight, I couldn't walk the streets for a little while. Yeah. And then, you know, we did Dead Man Running, and then we did Layer Cake, and then we did Cass.
But of course, you're always playing the hard man, aren't you?
Well, I'm too ugly to play romantic lead. They're never going to give me the romantic lead. So I'm either going to be killing or being
killed.
When
people see you on the street, they think, oh.
Well, they do. It's quite funny, you know, when you're driving along and somebody starts screaming and shouting at you, you turn around and look at them, they think, is he a real villain or is he from the movies? Yeah. And it kind of gets me out of trouble. So, because I'm a lovely man in real life, it's just acting.
I mean, a lot of actors, even very good actors that have done amazing work, often get some quite lean periods, some fallow periods when the work doesn't come in. Are you one of these people that the jobs just keep coming?
Do you know what? For me, I think we cornered that. Before us, there was Bob Hoskins, Ray Winston, Kane, and they did their sort of Long Good Friday, Italian Job, Mona Lisa's, and then there was a gap, and then I think we filled a little gap there of great British cult movies, and then it dried up, and you're right, it does dry up. It dries up. I think a lot of that was down to, a lot of that was my fault, misbehaving, probably drinking too much, partying too much.
You're on the water tonight.
I'm on the water. I've been on the water for a little while now. But yeah, a little bit of was us misbehaving. And I've said it before, it's a tough journey back. Because I was there and it could have gone more. I'd spent a bit of time in Los Angeles. I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. I come back home and I wanted to honour the film industry here. But then it did dry up. And then you kind of think you're at a point where you think, I'm invincible, I'm unstoppable, I can do what I want. But you can't. and it's a tough business because the industry is very tough, and you have to respect it and love it and honour it. Took me a little bit of time to get back, but now I'm back and I'm happy. I'm in my happy space.
And House Red is out now.
House Red.
The latest film.
The latest film, yeah, it's a lovely independent little horror film that we did. I was a producer on it, and a financer on it as well. A friend of mine, George, financed it as well. Camilla produced it. Natasha Henstridge. We was lucky enough to get Natasha. She stars with me in it. Clara Paget, myself. And it's a cool little horror film set in Tuscany. And it's quite bizarre, the story. I won't say too much.
No, don't.
And when you look at it, there was something going on about
I tell you what.
wine being made.
I tell you what. I'm going to watch it at the weekend.
It's on. It's Sky Cinema, Amazon Prime, and it's all over the major networks in America.
What can I say, Tamer? Thank you very much for coming
so
on,
much.
joining us, and hey,
my pleasure. Anytime.
Well done, you.
Well done.
You've had a
Thank you.
great career.
I've had a good one. Long may it last.